Thanks, Gregor. Adam, what's the stretch time been like, and what was your impression of the hit that knocked you out of the lineup?
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's one of those things. Kind of after it happened, I felt pretty good, but there was a few things off, a few things that were sore. So it's one of those things where you wish you could be back out there, and for the next period. But and the hit itself, I mean, I think it's in the head. Like, he might have grazed my shoulder. I don't think there was any intent, but I didn't think there should have been a penalty on the play. So leave it at that. I don't think it warranted anything else. Minor penalty, but it's in the past. I've kind of left it there. I'm looking forward to getting back in the lineup and feeling good again.
Next to Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, and I know doctors and yourself will ultimately decide when you return to the lineup. But as you mentioned, I'm not going to suggest you have a history of head injuries, but you do have a bit of a history in this league of taking high shots. And I'm, given the style of game in which you play, for yourself personally, to come back into a game, what do you need in order to feel good about executing everything that you do for this team?
Well, I think one of those things is, we're in this organization that really allows players to take their time to feel comfortable coming back. And, I think this one was more my neck than my head. So that's another one where, I'm comfortable with where I'm at, with how I feel. And, with the risks that there's always risks coming back from injury. There's always risk of, re-injuring things. So it's one of those things I'm comfortable with. I think, you want to get back in the lineup, you want to contribute. I know how I'm going to play. I know what I do that makes me effective. And, if I'm not doing those things, I'm not going to be an effective player. So, it's about kind of getting back to that and getting back to it as early as possible. It'll be nice to get hit and, to give a couple hits and just to feel kind of that physicality again and, battling in the circle and things like that. And, I think, a couple shifts and I should be right back into it.
Go next to Murad Atesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murad.
Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Adam. Just clarifying that I guess I think we had all assumed that this was a concussion. Is it to clarify this was not necessarily that? And then,
continue on. Sorry.
I was just thinking that the last time that I remember you coming back from injury, there was a lot of hits, and I think you may even tend to fight in your first games back if you're looking at trends. I mean, not saying that that's what's happening, but is that physicality a huge part of you feeling like you want it?
Well, the fans were in the building. I wanted to get the fans going last time, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue tomorrow night, but I think it was one of those ones. I passed a scat right during the first intermission. There's just some things that were a little off where, they made the call that, it was probably best that I didn't come back that night. And, going through all the tests, I felt comfortable where I was at. I felt clear, and, it was just a matter of time of, some minor things kind of clearing up and me starting to feel better. So, it's tough to really diagnose anything these days, whether, you can pass most tests and you could still maybe have a little minor one. It's tough to go into the brain and see what's going on in there. But, I felt great kind of right after. There was just some things kind of holding me back. And speaking of the physicality and stuff, that's important. That's something I bring to this team. It's, a little bit of size, a little bit kind of hard to play against, to try and make it a long night on, the other team. And so it's going to be important I get back to that. So I think, that's what makes me an effective player. I think, getting in on the forecheck, kind of wearing teams down, getting in on the cycle, and just using my body to my advantage. Some guys kind of have the speed, some guys, have the hands, and I have the size, and everyone kind of uses their attributes to their advantage. And that's kind of what I'm going to look to do.
Go next to Scott Billick from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Scott.
Thanks, Gregor, and good afternoon, Adam. What do you? I had just a complete brain fart here in terms of my question here, so sorry about that. What do you make of the losing streak? You've been out, you've been able to watch it, obviously, but not play in it. But what do you make of it? From what you've seen.
Well, every team's going to go through some struggles. It's unfortunate that it's coming at this point of the year, but I think you look at. The last two games, especially, and you look at the style, you look at the battle level to compete. I think our game's a lot closer to getting back to where we're going to be comfortable with it, where you're going to start seeing some positive results. I know, it seems like the offense has dried up a little bit, but there's been some crazy bounces. You look at the double tap JMO had against Edmonton and things like that. So it's one of those things where if you're a little bit off it, you don't really get the results. I know there was a couple of games there where we obviously didn't play our best, but I think you look at the effort level, the compete level, and things like that. The last two games, and we're really kind of getting back to what makes us successful. That's using our speed, that's using our forecheck, and things like that. So it's going to take another effort like that, and then some to kind of get out of this thing, and then get that good feeling back in the room, and hopefully we can kind of get the ball rolling, and get everyone feeling good again, and go from there.
Go next to Kelly Moore from 680 CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, good afternoon, Adam. It's kind of interesting you just said that the last two games, because and obviously we all see the game differently, but it appeared, at least from this set of eyeballs, I went back and looked again just to make sure before I asked you this, it seemed like you returned to the chaos in the defensive zone. You appeared to be a lot cleaner against Edmonton in the game before. So when you say the last two games you're back closer to what you should be as a team, what kind of things are you talking about, especially defensively?
Well, I'll stop you there. When you're talking about the chaos, I think you have to look at the style of game Montreal plays. And if you look at their metrics, you look at all the things, look at their shot volume, they're a team, they throw the puck to the net kind of from anywhere. They create that chaos. So now it's about controlling, it might seem like they're buzzing, they're getting chances, pucks are in Helly's feet. And, for the most part, those pucks are coming outside the dots, coming down the wall, they go low to high and things like that. So, the shot volume might have been up there. There might have been a few more extended zone pressures, but, I think if you look at kind of where the shots come from, I know they score their goals in tight and things like that. But, for the most part, I think it was a better style for us. You're not giving them tremendous amount of transition chances. We're not really giving up, a ton of backdoor kind of into the slot chances. So when I say the effort levels there the last two games, I really think that that style of game is going to continue to get better. Obviously there's areas we can improve upon, but it's a lot closer to a template of a game that we can win with.
Just a couple more for Adam. We'll go next to Jeff Hamilton for the Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Adam, in asking the question, I'm not suggesting that there is, but I'm wondering whether it's that specific hit you took or just some in the past or just in general, if there's anything you can learn from those kind of plays or those experiences, or is it just kind of, as we know, the fluke of hockey?
Yeah, it's the fluke of hockey. I think generally, you know who you're out there against, and generally, who's going to be hitting and whatnot. I think Galchenyuk has 35 hits on the year, 37 maybe. He's added a few the last few games. So, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm in a vulnerable position, kind of reaching for the puck, just keeping it in. Like, I don't really think I'm moving a whole lot. And, you like the guy hitting, to take some responsibility. I think he could have hit me in the body, but, he sees me down like that. So it's kind of whatever, I don't have the cleanest track record. I have a couple hits that have crossed the line too. So it happens. It's just about kind of protecting yourself, putting yourself in the best spot, and, hoping guys that, if you're in a vulnerable spot, maybe not necessarily let up, but, finish through your body instead of, through your head.
Final question to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Adam, in a year where the blender has been out quite heavily, what are the benefits to playing with guys you're used to playing with, both for your line maybe and for marks?
I think it just gets you back to quick reads and quick decision making. For me, playing with Copper and Appy for the most part, and just generally knowing where they're going to be, knowing where they're going to be on the breakouts, knowing where they like to go in the offensive zone, knowing where I can kind of move the puck to be effective, and things like that. And then you look at Casey, Wheels, and Shipe, and how dangerous they can be off the rush, how dangerous they can be when they start cycling the puck and really start moving their feet. And I think sometimes when you go back to what you're used to after, you know, kind of being away, you kind of get back to that style of game that, you know, maybe you've had success with in the past. And that's what we're going to look to do, you know, tomorrow. I think it's about being fast. It's about making quick plays, and, you know, hopefully with Copper and Appy, you know, we can kind of get in on the cycle, get in on the forecheck, disrupt some things, make it tough on them to break out of the zone and get to the net and, you know, create some chaos in the offensive zone.